So the ballot spikes. Let's go. You had this lead story. When did you put this story up? Because it was on fire. It was everywhere over the internet, and people were calling about it all the time. When did you put it up?
Yeah, this story has really been blowing up. It's been up for about 5 days. It's a summary of a larger study, and the larger study is important as a matter of record. If people are interested, I encourage them to look at the whole study. Revolver.news has worked with the people who put together the study to put together a more digestible summary, and that's been available. It's been pinned at revolver.news for several days. It's absolutely blowing up. Recently, Rand Paul tweeted the original study. It's very powerful, and it's done in very much the same vein as the Montgomery County expose that revolver.news did, very deep statistical dive. This study uses a similar approach, but looks at vote spike anomalies that occur in other states, principally Michigan, Wisconsin, and Georgia. And it's actually quite shocking when you look at the numbers.
So walk us through I know it's shocking. Walk us through and if we could get that, if the guys have the article, if we can put it up on
the article. The article. Yep. The article on revolver.news is titled simply and accurately enough, the definitive case proving Donald Trump won the election. So what is this all about? Again, this is referencing a larger and more thorough analysis that I would encourage the statistically inclined members of your audience to look at. This is a summary just giving the bare bones that's easily digestible, shareable everywhere. So what's the big deal here? In summary, this analysis calls the legitimacy of a critical period into question. That is this 5-hour period during which there were several vote spikes that were so statistically anomalous they could only really be accounted for by means of fraud. And so this study looks at 2 vote spikes in Michigan, 1 vote spike in Wisconsin, and 1 vote spike in Georgia. Again, these all occurred within a 5-hour period, and each of these spikes is so statistically anomalous, it's beyond the 99th percentile. In fact, if these spikes were only anomalous up to the 99th percentile, the election would have gone to Trump. And so what this study shows is not only how weird these particular spikes are, these crucial spikes in exactly the place that Biden needed it, at this suspicious 5-hour window, when, remember, with Trump in the lead, all of these key places just decided in this weird coordinated fashion to stop counting. Michigan, Wisconsin, Georgia. Remember that supposed pipe leak in Georgia that never really happened? This was all coordinated. So in this crucial 5-hour period, you have the most anomalous vote spikes in the entire election. And again, if these were only anomalous up to 99th percentile, only like 1% chance, Trump still would have won. They're anomalous within to the 10th of a percent chance. And there are all kinds of anomalies addressed in the summary, including the fact that the spikes themselves are totally out of keeping with additional vote counts. So if you have a spike that's dramatically for Biden, you would expect additional smaller spikes to reflect that same distribution. That is not the case with any of these 4 anomalous spikes. So it really just drills down into this larger narrative of what I think all of the most reliable vote fraud narratives really track, which is that you had Trump ahead in key places. These key places all suspiciously and curiously suspended vote counting. And in this 5-hour window, you had these huge statistically anomalous, really statistically impossible batches come in precisely the places that Biden needed it, only in those places, in this dark 5-hour window. And that's what made up the difference. And so this just drills down into the various peculiarities of this, but that's the broader narrative that this reinforces.
Okay, I just want to go back. We got a couple of minutes, and I know you're a mathematician and a serious political philosopher. Go back, you said it only could come about because of fraud. Just walk the audience back through there. What is the level of certainty that leads these mathematicians and statisticians to that conclusion?
Well, I mean, in a precise sense, something that is, only 0.00001 chance of occurring, it's still, possible according to the physical laws of the universe. It's just so unlikely that if there are any more plausible explanations, plausible narratives, namely voter fraud, I think we have to avail ourselves of those explanations. And as I said, we're dealing with like 4 extremely curious vote spikes. They all occur within this highly suspicious 5-hour period of dead of night vote counting. They're so anomalous, that is, they're so outside of the norm, that if they were only 99% out of the norm, Trump would have won. They're out of the norm by 99.9%, and they're all the same, and they don't track any of the additional, like the vote ballots that came in after or the vote ballots that came in before. So really, like any reasonable person looking at these numbers, given the context, would really have to conclude that there's something really fishy going on here, especially when you see Georgia. Yep. Sorry.
Yeah, I want to. We're going to ask you to stay over for the next segment, but I got a question, and I want you to finish the Georgia thing in a second. Our nose is rubbed in every day. Our audience's nose rubbed in by CNN and MSNBC on the CCP virus, on COVID-19, about being evidence-based, science-based, data-based. Given all the kind of loosey-goosey numbers that come out about COVID, right, and people can agree and disagree, but everybody, I think, would agree that the math here is tough to get your arms around. Here, it's something bulletproof. Have you seen anybody in the mainstream media at all attack your article from the statistics and mathematical side? Not from the, hey, Darren Beatty runs a crazy news site, or these are just crazy Trump. Have you seen anybody with any stature come after this analysis or other analysis like this? And what are their principal arguments?
Well, as I mentioned in my last appearance, Ross Douthat did make some kind of limp attempt at refuting the last statistical expose on Montgomery County. His argument was not really a statistical one, so I can't really count that as what you're asking for. And really, there's been no statistical refutation. Really, what I'd love to see, if they can provide it, they being the other side, is I want to see a plausible narrative of events that does not involve voter fraud, that fits these incontestable numbers that we're given.